And now, the makers of the Half-Assed Podcast proudly present their latest endeavor, My Personal Life. You want to hear all about my personal life? Yes, we do. What do you want to know? Well, we'll get to that in this one-on-one interview-style program, Todd Moves to Cali.
My Personal Life is a subsidiary and intellectual property of the Half-Assed Podcast, owned in perpetuity throughout the universe.
Ahoy, and welcome aboard the latest project from the producers of the Half-Assed Podcast. That's, that'd be me. I'm the producers, but that's not why I'm here. Self-aggrandizement. No, sir, quite the opposite. I'm here to actually interview friends of mine about some cool shit that they have done. Things which I've dubbed a low percentage experience. How do you define that term that you made up, Ron? Well, I'm glad you asked. I define that as something that you've done that most people haven't. My example is I've not only conducted a wedding, but I did so dressed as Obi-Wan Kenobi. So not everyone you're going to run across today is going to be able to tell you they performed a Jedi wedding. But let me digress, because I want to put the spotlight on friends of mine and cool things they've done, stuff that I have not done that I kind of want to know more about. So that's really what's going to happen here on My Personal Life. It's just going to be a little one-on-one interview where I ask them about this cool thing they've done, what kind of planning they put into it, reality versus expectations, how things went when you got there. Not only that, but the external factors, things that led up to making the decision to make this big move. And in this inaugural episode, I'm going to start with a friend of mine. He's been on the podcast. He's been on my YouTube show where he is known as The Wrath of Todd. We're both from a small town in rural Wisconsin, and Todd is a licensed massage therapist who decided that he was gonna get up out of here and not just move, but move all the way across the country until you literally run out of fucking land. So Todd moved out to California to put his skill to use, and I had some questions. So without further ado, here's the inaugural episode of My Personal Life, Wrath of Todd. Started now, so I don't forget to hit always record. Always
record. Always record. That's a tip from Ron since back in the fucking 90s.
To be fair, I stole that from Jack Black.
I've got a decent story to tell you about Jack Black.
Oh, even better.
We can come back to this. That might be the interlude to the conversation we're about to have on the California situation.
So welcome, Todd, first guest on My Personal Life.
Thank you, sir.
What would this be, about 2007, 2008, somewhere in there?
It was 2007, right before the fucking recession hit hard. It was starting already, and so the recession was already starting to come in, and I've been working in Madison as a massage therapist. I got certified, licensed, and everything in 2005 as a massage therapist. And I worked down in Dubuque for a short period of time, and after that, I came up to Madison, thinking that it's a bigger city, bigger town, more people,
more tips,
more work, bigger tips.
There's more
like the industry. Yeah, more everything. In the industry.
Well, really, the area that we're from in Grant County, Wisconsin, is like, man, the cost of living and the wages, they're just below board down here. So really, anywhere you can go from here is up. So, Madison, Dubuque, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, more.
Yeah, exactly. And so I went to school in Dubuque, and I had my first job in Dubuque. But my first job there was, it was just for covering for somebody on maternity leave. When she was ready to come.
No delusions of I'm here now.
Yeah, no. When she was ready to come back to work, I was done, and she was reclaiming her space. So after that was done, I was like, well, where do I go? Do I go to Grant County? And, well, like we were saying, most people in Grant County, for one, I mean, don't want a man to massage them.
Yeah,
And for
it's
two,
probably a thing. They're not. Yeah.
right.
Not me. I'm so super
Right.
straight that I'm threatened.
Yeah, so super straight that I'm
Right.
like, don't want any part of it. Don't want any part of any of that.
I'm so straight
Don't
that
want to
this
do it.
freaks me out and I'm weird. I'm
Totally.
angry about it now.
And yeah, and might even piss me off if my girlfriend slash
I might
wife,
have to fight you to prove how straight I am.
Yeah. Or the girlfriend wife come gets massage from me.
Oh, right.
It's not necessarily gonna be So I decided to skip all that bullshit.
That's a solid move.
I moved up to Madison and decided to start my own little business. Thinking all entrepreneurially, I'm just gonna fucking swing the bat and see what happens.
Right.
And so I started working at this place and down by the university. And I figured, college kids, they ain't got money, but in Madison, their parents do.
Right, exactly.
Ended up having about 3 jobs to try to balance out what I was paying for rent for the establishment that I was working in, to be an independent contractor there. And ultimately I was like, yeah, this isn't worth it. So I decided I was going to leave Madison on it was Halloween. And that was my last day. That's when I gave my notice. But it was the Halloween that I got the phone call at 4:00 in the morning that Putsy died. And so I got that phone call the day that I had all my shit packed up. I was moving back to Lancaster. I was going to go stay with my parents. I was going to go just do the thing. I'll figure out where life goes from here, but I need to regroup. When I got that phone call, obviously devastated me. This man was a brother from another mother, to say the very least. But, it was probably 1, 2 o'clock. I finally got my ass out of bed, packed up all my shit. None of my, I didn't even have enough shit that it didn't fit into my car. Packed up all of my shit into my car.
Which is really the key to this, is being light enough to be able to make the move. I mean, honestly, it sounds so simple when you say it, but not being tied down with a bunch of earthly bullshit is really the key. It lightens the load so much.
And I've made so many moves over the years that it actually feels good every time that I do it, to let go of,
to shed some of that stuff.
All the shit. All the shit. I didn't need that. That was just taking up space. How often did I use that? How often, even a desk, even furniture, even how often did I actually fucking use that?
Right. It was there because you're supposed to have one. I need that.
Because it filled space.
All you need is a chair and an ashtray. A wise man once said that.
I'll drink to that. That whole fucking process.
Fucking A. So it doesn't sound like you did a whole shitload of planning before you made, what kind of pre-planning shit did you do before you made the move?
So I did. So from there, I did actually go back to Lancaster as planned, as expected.
Right.
Because at that point, the reason that I was leaving Madison was because I was broke as fuck.
Madison will do.
Yeah. I didn't have the money to stay any longer, and so
so I had to go build up some cash.
I had to go back to my parents' house. Mom and Dad obviously welcomed me in with open arms. Because of that day, I was just like, I might not live as long as I think I'm going to.
Right. Nothing's fucking guaranteed.
There is absolutely nothing fucking guaranteed. And I don't see myself living past fucking 25 if I stay here. And so at that point, like I was living at my parents' house, and I told myself, I'm like, I need to fucking leave. Like I have to go.
There's nothing here.
Yeah, and I knew that if I stayed here, I was gonna stay on that path. Like there wasn't, and even go like, because after he died, like I went further down that fucking road. Like I was a drunken fucking mess. Because that was one of my first major losses. But he truly was a brother. And so when that happened, I was like, fuck, life might not be as long as I think it's going to.
Time to take a swing. So I knew you were planning to leave. So, like, what do? You just Google it? You're like, I'm going out here? Like,
so at the time, an aunt and uncle that lived in San Diego.
Okay.
And my cousin Neil also lived in San Diego. Neil grew up around here. Also, Doug was in Los Angeles pursuing his acting comedy. I picked somewhere in the middle. I picked Orange County. And it was about an hour to an hour and a half either way. Little did I know, depending on traffic, it was like 3 hours either way.
Yeah, right. It's a different beast.
Yeah, totally. Like on paper, it was like an hour to an hour and a half. Realistically, it could be like 6.
I guess, I don't know. I've never really had to do anything that far. What do you do? Is you like mapping out places beforehand? How do you check that out without being out there?
Yeah. So at the time, like we had internet, but we're like, Facebook wasn't huge. Like there wasn't a whole lot of
like a network thing where you could just click and be like, I need an apartment. And like, here's a rating of somebody who's not a fucking rapist.
Yeah, none of that existed.
You're just fucking rolling the dice.
Yeah, and so what I did is I called a Massage Envy, and they're a franchise, and so I called a Massage Envy. I'm like, hey, what is my potential income? Like they took 2 interviews on the phone, and then and on the second interview, I was like, "What is my potential income?" And they told me what my potential income was. And so through that, I was like, "Well, then can I use you as a reference as I'm hired to have an apartment?"
Yeah, because that is such a bitch. You can't get hired because you don't have a place with an address. And you can't get a place with an address because you don't have a fucking job.
Isn't that about that's it. Shit. Right. No, exactly.
Okay,
and
so they went for that then,
and they did go for that. But the fucked up thing is I was still at the time so untrustworthy.
They're just taking the word of some drunken asshole over the phone that he's actually coming and that he's actually employable and that he's really worth that reference they just said they'd give.
Yes. on all of that, yes.
Oh,
and so I was as I took the interview with this job that I had at Massage Envy, they're like, yeah, you have a job, but you have to have your massage license. Send me all your credentials and send me all your information, and we'll get that process started for you. I was like, yeah, fuck you. Like, I ain't sending you that shit. like somehow inside of me, I was like, I don't know, that I thought they were going to steal my fucking identity. Like, I don't know.
So it could just be like they're way too nice. They're going to vouch for you on a place. It's clearly an elaborate. They're like, sure, let me get a social security number and your mother's maiden name, and we'll give you an apartment reference.
Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, no, wait, hold on. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Like next thing you know, you're missing a fucking kidney.
I'm gonna apply for my license on my own, and we're gonna deal with the whole process after I get there, which is fucking stupid. So
right,
anyway,
right. Bad plan. Let
I
them
get
do all that shit.
I took out a personal loan for $10,000 to cover all of my debt that I had in Wisconsin before
Okay.
I left, somewhere around $4,000. And so I had $6,000 when I showed up in California.
Nice. It's a nice fucking cushion.
It didn't suck. It didn't suck. But nonetheless, like, it took, I think, 2-3 months before my massage license went through, before I could actually start at that job. So for the first month and a half ish, I jumped around from LA to San Diego between my cousins and my family.
So just couch surfing.
Couch surfing.
Okay.
And
that's bad. Not too bad. You're not racking up any cost then. So that's cool.
But I just moved to California, so obviously I wanted to go out and I wanted to do things. I wanted to hang out. Like it was like, hey, take me to the bars, and I would buy. Like I was dropping dollars, even though I wasn't dropping it on rent. I was fucking dropping bills.
Well, that's just karma, man. I mean, you get that free couch.
Exactly. And I was like 22 at the time. So I was like, fuck yeah, let's go out. Let's have a good time.
And let that be a lesson to you kids. When you're that age, go do that shit.
That shit.
That's your fucking window, kids. Listen to me. I'll shoot you fucking straight. When you got the chance, nobody turns 65 and decides they're going to start recreationally doing a bunch of fucking drugs and following Dave Matthews around, you know? Go do it when you're 20. Buy a shitty fucking puka shell necklace and get super stoned and be dumb. Go fucking do that. That's fucking A, man.
Fucking A, man.
No,
go do all of it. Go do all of that and figure out how to correct your credit.
Yeah, worry about that shit later.
Fucking years. Worry about that shit later. Like, that is not a today problem for a child. Like, I could have done so much better. I could have done so many better fucking things with that.
You can't put a fucking dollar value on going out to fucking LA and getting absolutely shit canned. Like, you might be able to go do that now, but that's not the same as doing it in your 20s. Like I said, I can't. No. That's that fucking the window. That's a finite thing. You got to cash in on that when you can fucking do it. And say, I show up out there now at fucking 43 and like, nah, dude, it ain't the same thing. It's not a noble thing, me sleeping on your couch. It's sad at my age. It's go do it. Go do it, guys.
Go do it. Listen to Ron and go do it.
Okay, so you're couch surfing. We're drinking. Where do we go from here?
Drinking, partying, fucking hitting the LA scene, hitting the San Diego scene, fucking living it up. It's all good. I get to the point where I got about $2,000 in the bank account. It's like, fuck, I need an apartment.
Right.
And so I find an apartment. And from what the Massage Envy was telling me, I was going to be making a lot more fucking money than they claimed. Imagine that.
Oh, I know. Shocking. Shocking.
What? Corporate America's gonna lie to you?
Well, that estimate was including your potential tips and everything else.
So I end up taking this place. It was about $1,300 a month for rent. So I must have had $3,000 left in the bank account. I pay the rent. I pay the fucking security deposit, and I move into this place. It's in San Clemente. It's gorgeous. It's on the top of the hill. I got an ocean view. It's fucking
sweet.
Yeah, dude. Like, gorgeous. I end up there, and I ended up meeting, and I ended up going into the hot tub. Like, there was a hot tub and a pool. I ended up going into the hot tub, and I meet this guy named Indian Joe.
Oh, great name.
I know, dude.
Great. That's exactly what, if I were to write this, that's what I want next. All right, lay it on me.
So Indian Joe and his old lady.
Yeah, tell me he called her old lady too.
He did.
Yes.
Indian Joe and his old lady did contract carpentry construction work. Well, he did. She didn't.
Right.
She came from a high class family that her parents hadn't quite died yet. And so like she was living on the lower end of what she had ever had.
Just waiting.
But she just waiting. Yeah, she just waiting. But Indian Joe, like, I mean, he was an Indian. And most people would take him as a Mexican.
I suppose in that area.
And so we got to
call him Indian. Isn't that a little on the fucking nose? Like, no, we just don't want people to think he's a Mexican. So
yeah, exactly. And so I met him at the hot tub. I don't have a job. I have to pay rent. I applied for my license, but they haven't told me when I'm gonna get my license. I could use some work on the side if you need somebody to help you out. You know, it's like, fuck yeah, dude, I will take some help, dude. And so he hired me on. He was paying me cash money.
Perfect.
Fucking perfect. And not only, dude. All right. So I start working for him, and like we start fucking with each other. We become friends. Like I remember one time I write on the flooring before you set a tile down. I was like, Joe fucks donkeys. And I wrote that in pencil so that he'd see it because he was putting the mud down before the tile went down.
Right.
Dude, it was fucking hilarious. That day, like, he saw it. He was like, oh, you fucker. Oh, you're a jokester, aren't you? All right. Because that was like the first gag that I ever pulled on him. So yeah, dude, I gotta fuck with you, and if you're an Indian or a Mexican, I don't care. Like either way, you're a fucking donkey. Like you're a fucking donkey.
Right. Yeah. You could be Italian Joe. You're still fucking this donkey.
Yeah, you're still fucking the donkey. And he got a great laugh out of it. And it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's when you know you found somebody who's fucking good peoples.
Right. And about a week after that, the apartment above me started leaking water into my bedroom.
Oh.
And I don't mean leaking as in a drip. I mean leaking as in I had to clean out my bedroom because it was fucking raining down on me. Dude, I can't make this fucking story up. Like, I could, but, like, this is all fucking true. And so I had to take what was my one-bedroom apartment for $1,300, and I had to turn it into, like, a studio-ish. Like, I had to move all of my shit into the living room. And after about 3 days of it, I walked in to the rental, the fucking leasing agreement place, the headquarters, and I looked at the guy, and he was the one that I signed my agreement with, and I looked at him and I'm like, hey man, you know what's going on? He's like, yeah, I did. I'm sorry. That sucks. I'm like, yeah, dude, it sucks.
Heard.
How about you just let me out of the lease? How about we just sign some fucking papers? You let me out of the lease. And nobody fucking cares anymore. Because I'm not going to continue to pay you for a one-bedroom apartment when I'm living in less than a fucking studio. I could take you to court. I didn't even have to say all of these things.
Right. It's all implied.
It's all implied.
You know the next steps that are coming. I
Yeah.
contest. I try to get out of the agreement. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You notice it's
Yeah.
not even signed yet. Neither of us wants to do this.
You're going to lose. You're going to lose. You're going to
know it. I know it. The American people know it.
You're going to lose more than what I'm offering to let you out of for you to quote unquote lose.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, just let me the fuck out of it and we'll call it a fucking done deal. I won't just fucking let's call it quits. So that, and fortunately at that time I had started working at the Massage Envy, and I met a guy that was looking for a roommate right about the same time, because his roommate apparently went batshit crazy. It's a whole different story. But she needed to move out, and he needed a roommate, and so I fucking moved in, and that's how that all started. But that was still a lot to get there.
Yeah, there was a significant in between there.
So I guess my stance is everybody that says it should be easy to make a transition. It's not. I had to fight. I had to fight for all of that shit every fucking step of the way. I had to fight for it. I had to fight for it. Because it was what I wanted to do. I fucking fought for it.
So you were out there for a while. I don't know, what would you say? What's the highlight of the whole move?
The ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I could describe it deeper. I could go into further content of it, but
no, I know what you mean.
It's not. Yeah, dude. It's not something that you can describe. It's the water. It's the salt. It's the freedom and also the fear. Dude. It's all of it. It's the fucking ocean. Well, no, and the fucked up thing is, one of the things that I missed the most when I lived out in California was thunderstorms, because you don't get them out there.
Right.
You don't even get much rain, but even the rain that you get on the shores,
yeah, nothing.
It's a sprinkle, it's a drizzle, and it might rain, but there isn't thunder. There isn't lightning.
That's great. There's so much shit in there that I didn't know about. I want to thank my guest, Wrath of Todd, for coming on.
Here. Happy, sir, to be a part of it.
So to close out the inaugural episode, are you ready to circle back and deliver on what we teased at the start of the podcast? Are you ready to drop on me? No pun intended. The Jack Black story.
I'm probably not allowed to tell this story.
Oh.
But that makes it even better to tell. I'm just going to go ahead and do it because I got
12 listeners. It's not like it's going to be out there.
So when I was living in Los Angeles, the job that I was working at was at Burke Williams Day Spa. And it was right on Sunset Boulevard, Sunset and Crescent Heights. And all sorts of celebrities had come through that joint. All sorts of celebrities had come through that joint. And before I started there, a number of my coworkers told me the story about how Jack Black came in there one day. And there was a men's spa and a women's spa and so, when you were running around, there was a hot tub. There were two hot tubs, a cold tub, a sauna. There was all sorts of shit that was just that you got that was included in with your service, whatever it was. If it was a massage or if it was a facial or this or that or whatever. And Jack Black comes in there one day, fucked out of his head. It's in the West Hollywood area, and so West Hollywood is like it's like the gay capital of the world. I mean, San Francisco can call its claim to whatever it wants, but like the men's spa in West Hollywood was a hookup place. It was like, oh yeah, I'll meet you in the men's spa, fucking at Burke Williams in West Hollywood, and that was kind of where they, went to go check out the scenario,
right?
Because everybody ran around naked.
Right, everything's out in the open there. Yeah,
everything's out in the open.
Ain't no mystery.
Right? You don't need a first date when you figure out what's going on after that. And so there are spa attendants. And so he went in there one day and he was like before his massage. And this son of a bitch was, from what I was told, fucked out of his head. And he got up out of one of the hot tubs and he squatted and literally took a shit into the fucking hot tub. And so therefore he was banned for life, or at least, reasonably so.
I'm gonna say all that Cleveland Steamer talk on the album, I don't think came out of fucking thin air. I think my man's got a thing.
He's got a thing.
Yeah.
And he proved his thing that day. Like he took a shit in the fucking hot tub.
Yeah, and they loosen you up.